talking about the grandparenting ABCs, and today we are on the letter P, and P is for perseverance. Now, I think this is one of the most important skills, traits, whatever, in a successful family. Why? Because every family has troubles at times. Every family struggles. Every family deals with crises or unexpected events that require us to persevere and just weather the storm, get through it, and then move on. So think about these things, okay? I want to talk about how to persevere, and I want you to think about it from the angle of perseverance is part of how we come through to a peaceful place in life, even if there are difficulties. We learn to persevere and cultivate peace. How do we do it? First thing is remember the big picture. That always helps me a lot. When I'm going through difficulties, I have to remember, I have to stop once in a while and remind myself that nothing lasts forever. We won't always be in a difficult time. One of the times I remember one of the times in my life that really drove this lesson home was when I was in law school. And we had 3-day take-home exams. And that was the first time I'd encountered that type of an exam. And so it was really stressful the first semester. You know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to worry about this for 3 days, just one exam. And I started telling myself, okay, in 72 hours, this will be all over and I'll move on to the next thing. In 48 hours, this one will be done. I'll move on to the next one. 24 hours, I'll be done with it, move on to the next one. And I just learned to kind of pace myself and to say, it's not going to last forever. I will finish and move on. We can look at problems in life the same way. In a certain time period, this too will pass, right? Another thing I've learned is just to put one foot in front of the other. You know, sometimes you just have to walk. You have to do the things that have to be done every day anyway. You walk through life. Don't put expectations on yourself during a crisis that are unrealistic. If something has to be let go, do it. Persevere, deal with the crisis at hand. Don't get so high on expecting great things out of yourself during a trial that you can't produce anything. Next thing, find a trusted friend or a family member who you can confide in, talk to, pray with, whatever works to help give you that pressure relief, that steam pressure release. Now, a caution here, we do have to be careful and find somebody who's trusted. Why? Because otherwise those sessions can very quickly turn into gossip. Somebody who really doesn't have your best interests in heart, spreads what you've shared concerns about, and all of a sudden you're trying to persevere through a problem becomes the subject of much discussion among groups of people who don't really understand what's going on. That's not always healthy. I've learned that one the hard way sometimes. So find somebody you can confide in who really will be a help to you as you try to persevere through some difficulty. Finally, and this may sound crazy, but there are routines and mundane things that actually help us persevere through difficult times in life. When my kids were all teenagers, and at one point we had 6 teenagers living in our home, I would complain about the laundry because, as you might imagine, there were mountains of laundry in my basement laundry room. And then I began to realize that during those times, I kind of unwound and I would settle, and maybe I'd watch some movies with one of the kids who was home or something. And I found that even in those mundane, those daily activities, I found peace and strength to persevere through what might otherwise be, some trying times. 6 teenagers was a handful on occasion, but we had a lot of fun. And even in those times of crisis, we found ways to persevere and work towards successful family. How does that apply with grandparenting? Well, even though we're a little more removed from the immediate everyday activities of our grandchildren, we still feel those pressures. We feel the crunches of difficult times when our children and our grandchildren are struggling for some reason. Or we get that phone call that immediately the family's in a stress cycle. And so we still, even as adults or even as grandparents, sorry, we've been adults for a long time, but as grandparents, we still have to persevere during times of crisis for our families. So work hard to persevere, don't give up. I have another great example that taught me a lot about this, and I'll wrap up with this comment. I had a grandmother who lived till she was 99 years old and 9 months, and she persevered through being a widow, being alone in a small town in Wyoming, not driving, and she managed to live a happy and content life and persevered through almost 50 years of widowhood. She taught me a lot just by her quiet, still example. Take care, grandparents. Persevere. That's our P word for the week.